What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Punch. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey.
And White Chocolate Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us. We here at Talk Punch are building a wonderful little community, and we love interacting with all of you. So put comments in there. We'll respond. Just make sure that you're nice. Be polite, please. Mm-hmm. That makes it better for everybody. And while you're here, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening in on the audio version of the podcast, make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, then come back every Wednesday to hang out with us and see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic, we are going with a little different format here. So a lot of times we do top threes, where we each pick a top three based on a topic. But there's some topics that we thought, you know what, if we do this, we are all going to pick very similar lists. We're just going to have a lot of crossover. You have one or two crossover, that's okay. You start getting more than that, it just seems silly. So we are going to do the official top 10 lists. The official Talk Punch top 10 lists.
There it is.
That came out a little bit slower as I was processing
Perfect.
what I was saying.
It's perfect.
So we're starting out with Steven Spielberg. So we went ahead, we picked 10 popular Steven Spielberg movies, and we are going to rank those all together as you're watching. We got our list here. Let me go ahead and bring it up. You can also see it behind Charlie, but we'll bring it to a bigger screen. There it is. We've got 10 Steven Spielberg movies. We're going to put these in order. We put them into a little draw pile, and we're going to rank them as we go. So we'll talk about each one. We'll put it in its place. There may be a little shuffling as we go, but it's going to be a fun time as we talk about all these very, very fun, good movies that were done by Mr. Steven Spielberg. All right. So to start it out, for our audio listeners, we have, in release order, Jaws, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Hook, Jurassic Park, The Lost World Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report, and War of the Worlds. So these are some good ones. We like these ones. Familiar with these ones. So we decided this list. All right, guys. How you feeling about this?
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun.
I have a tentative list in my mind, but I am open to being persuaded to change it. And I know we're missing, some of his newer stuff, but we wanted to focus on some of the classics and some of the stuff that we'd all seen and some of the stuff that'd be fun to talk about. So, if your favorite Spielberg film isn't here, let us know. I need to watch West Side Story. It's on my list. So I got some catching up to do. But this is great. These are great films. Love Steven Spielberg. Man is a genius. What's our first movie, bro?
All right. So if we go over to the deck, we've got our deck right here. We've got our layout here. So we're starting out with Minority Report. Where do you guys kind of think Minority Report would land? I liked Minority Report.
I liked it too. I loved the scene when he was just like, you know what? She was right. I am going to kill this man. I was like, oh, we got crazy Tom Cruise. And there's nothing better than crazy Tom Cruise. Oh, like Vanilla Sky, when he's just like, no. I would give that I'm going to put that tentatively at a 5 for me. What do you guys think? 5. Tentatively. I could be persuaded to 6.
Yeah, I was kind of falling in the 6 type of range. I know Charlie, you're not a huge fan of this movie, right?
This would have made a much better television show. What a great TV show this would have made. A great Futurama episode based on this. If you ever get a chance to watch Futurama, Brody, fantastic. I enjoy the movie. I don't know. I'm curious to see where it's going to shuffle to as we get all the rest of the Spielberg in. I think 6 is a good starting spot, Dylan. If you're okay with that,
I'm okay with 6.
Yeah, I think it's a good starting spot. I may be persuaded to a 5.
You know, I love my Tommy Cruise.
It's true.
It's true.
All right, next up, we have Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
This is
That's
a really good movie.
You got Sean Connery. Steven Spielberg was like, if anybody was going to be the father of Indiana Jones, it's going to be James Bond. And so Sean Connery was cast as his dad, even though he's really not a lot older than he is. But you got excellent writing in this one. It's just the wit and even the heart is so good. I could see a 5. What do you guys think?
A 5?
5.
Wow.
Maybe a 4. I could be persuaded.
That's
4. I'm
lower
trying to be
than
very
I was kind of
not
thinking.
liberal, because I could be like, I could put that as 3, but I mean, I don't want to get crazy. I could see it as a 4 or 5, not a 7.
I'm comfortable with that being 1.
Whoa.
Really? Wow.
This is great, and this movie maybe shouldn't have worked, but I really like it. It's probably the one the Indiana Jones that I've watched the most.
I would agree with that.
Tentatively 3-4 somewhere there, and then we can shuffle it around.
I'd be good with maybe a 3.
I could see 3 with the possibility of shuffle.
I think
you can convince us to push it down, Dill.
I can convince you if I cannot, or if I just shouldn't.
Yeah, I think that could possibly move to 2. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see as we go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, next up we have Jaws. The original Jaws.
Now, let me tell you, first off, this one is something. This is the kind of movie that's kind of close to my heart, like the very first Godfather. People say Godfather 1 or 2. I say 1 because they were the epitome of, they were given lemons and they made like tiramisu somehow. They made genius. This shark
famously out of lemons.
They made several different kinds of the prosthetic sharks. One of them fell to the bottom of the ocean. Several of them never could work. And they absolutely made genius with this. Those kinds of movies are close to my heart. I could see this as a 1 or a 2. That's how much I think. Like, I thought the writing was good. I loved how he just was like, okay, this is what we've got. We're gonna keep going, and we're gonna finish it. And this made the summer blockbuster. Movies weren't even released. If they were released in summer, it was because they weren't gonna do well. This movie, and then Star Wars right after it, this one came in and did that, and I have a huge love for that kind of a thing. So, like I said, I would put that at a 1 or a 2.
It's also really interesting if you go look at the stats of shark attacks. They were really steady going up. And then around that 1970, this was 77, 76?
More like, I mean, earlier than that, maybe 74.
75.
75, 74. Whenever this came out, there was a huge drop in shark attacks because people just didn't want to go in the ocean. People were terrified of this movie.
Yeah. Huge impact. It didn't paint a very flattering picture of sharks, and people are scared ever since. But you know what? I'll be very honest. I am not saying that they should ever be harmed or hunted or anything. But somebody once was like, I can't remember, it was like a survivalist or something. It was on like a Joe Rogan podcast, and they were saying like, you go into the ocean, as soon as you go in there, you're the prey. Everything else is like in their own element. You're at the bottom of that food chain. I mean, not if you're obviously in like a boat or a ship, but especially a fishing ship or anything. But I mean, it really is terrifying, even if even if they're just trying to get a snack.
All right, so here's I think how we're gonna have to start doing this. Jaws, better or worse than Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
I say
worse.
Oh. Road, you're the tiebreaker, apparently.
It's tough.
It was 75, by the way. 75.
It was 75?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That makes sense. 75.
I really like Jaws, but I think Indiana Jones is better.
Rewatchability. Come on now.
Okay, it's true.
But Indiana Jones, Jaws, is so good that I think maybe Indiana Jones moves up to 2 and Jaws be at 3.
I can live with that.
Okay.
Charlie, what do you think?
I would probably have Jaws lower on my personal list, but I'm along for the ride, and we'll see. We'll see if I can talk you guys out of the shark.
All right, next up, Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is another really good one.
a lot of people say that this is one of those like perfect movies, not just because of how it's written, but I mean like even how it's filmed, the whole thing. Like it's one of those where it redefined a genre that nobody took seriously, even at the time. The radio serial, and completely made it accessible for just about any generation. And it's a classic. He did symbolism just with his whip and his fedora, which is still iconic to this day. It's an iconic film, and I would have put it above. I mean, I love Last Crusade, but I would put this Raiders above that, only because of how just I love how they go for the Grail in Italy and all that kind of thing. But then you've got the going after the Ark of the Covenant, and you first meet Salah, all of those things, and Marion, wonderful foil to Harrison Ford or Indiana Jones. I mean, it's a classic movie, classic.
So if this was a list of his best, I would put this over Last Crusade. But if you're telling me I got to watch a movie tonight, and I'm looking at Raiders and I'm looking at Last Crusade, me personally, I'm grabbing Last Crusade. It's got more humor. It's got more heart. And it's just, it's like, you're right. Like the first one establishes all these things and does all these great, all these great things to re-inspire this genre. But that was meaningless to me when I saw it as a kid eventually. And now as an adult, it's already, all that stuff's already happened, and I can take it for granted, and I can just watch the movie that I like best. So for me, it's still Crusade, but I'm open to having my mind changed, Brody. Change my mind.
Belongs in a museum, Brode.
I don't like having to be the tiebreaker on this stuff.
Then you gotta talk sooner.
I know. I gotta jump in. I need to start the bidding off. Is what I need to do. It's really tough. Oh gosh. Because I know that there's also movies that I love that are also coming up. Do I think Indiana Jones is better or worse than Jaws?
I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I think you think it's better.
I think I might think it's better. I think there's just more to it. What if Jaws moved to number 4 and Indiana Jones Raiders went to number 3?
For some reason, I think that what Charlie wants is for Jaws to move to number 5 and Raiders to be at number 4. Am I reading your mind, Charlie, or am I not?
Hey, we can move Jaws down to 8. Fine with me. But what a great score by John Williams, though. I mean, come on now.
Okay, so what about Jaws at number 4?
Jaws at 4? I'm fine with that.
Can we work with that for now, at least?
There was a great Bob's Burger episode about with the Jaws theme, like a Jaws themed episode. Every movie on here has a great animated show reference. I'll try to get them all. I'll try to get them all for you guys.
Nice.
Okay, so we've been through some great movies. We now have The Lost World, Jurassic Park. I'm going to speak up, doggone it. This was one of those movies I remember I saw in junior high in the theaters, and I walked out and I was like, I didn't really like that. So this is going to be lower, quite a bit lower. I'm going to start this out at number 10.
I can agree with that.
Well, I would have been my number 1, but I suppose since you guys feel so strongly about it, we can
Unbelievable.
We can push it to number 10. But just remember, I have now conceded a point. So you guys both owe me a concession.
That is so generous.
I am banking a concession here as someone who's been forced to go last so many times now.
All right, next up we have Saving Private Ryan.
I might be the low man on this one too. I'm war movies in general,
they're harder.
They're a little bit trickier to rank, a little less rewatchability for me personally. I can understand there's certainly just fans of this particular genre of movie that can watch them endlessly, and no judgment on that whatsoever. We all like different styles of movies, but for me, this is a little bit harder to rewatch. I would put this one lower on the list. It's a really well-made film, and it was one of the. Barry Pepper was in '61, and then he was in this. I just thought this young man's gonna have one heck of a career. Where'd you go, Barry Pepper? Where did you go?
And you know who else was started around there was Vin Diesel, and where did he go? Right to Fast 10. Fast and Furious.
Right into Fast 10.
Career, man.
Right into Fast 10. That's where he went.
To Fast 10. He didn't have one.
That's how fast Vin is, man. That's how fast he is.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Man, Vin Diesel's cashing those Groot checks. Man, that guy's living a good life.
Yeah.
I'll say, Charlie, did you have a number you were thinking?
I was thinking like 8, just off the top of my head, maybe 7, 8.
I was thinking 7. You guys think 8?
Really? You were thinking 7, really? Why don't we put it at 8 with the possibility of shuffling?
All right.
Oh, you know what? I'll probably want to move that up. I just remember 2 of the other ones we have on the list.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right.
I'm very curious to hear your Jurassic Park take. Brody.
Next up.
You want it number 1, don't you?
Jurassic Park, the original, number 1. I think number 1. This movie still holds up. I watched this movie just like a month ago, and this movie is still amazing.
Now, Dylan hates this movie. So
what? That's not true. I think it's Dylan,
before the podcast started, Dylan's like, dinosaurs didn't even exist.
What? First off, I never said that. I never said anything derogatory about Jurassic Park. I remember seeing it in theaters and was blown away by it. Granted, there are some discrepancies and whatnot, but what movie doesn't have discrepancies? That was one of the best blending of CGI and animatronics that, I mean, it's just was genius how they did that. And tell me that score didn't get you like really going when you first see that Brontosaurus.
The first CD I ever bought.
Jurassic Park, spared no expense. Like it's an iconic movie. Is it a number 1?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Charlie, what do you think? I could be convinced, but I mean, it's a tough one.
This is definitely a top 3 for me. So I know that for sure. Or at least that's where it was in my pre rankings coming into today. I could make an argument for it to really nestling into any one of those 3 places.
I could see it being number 2 if Last Crusade's number 1.
So, now I feel like I'm driving the Last Crusade train. I don't want to push too hard on that. But
you're right. Jaws can go to number 1, and no, not doing it.
I don't know if like we can put it number 1 for now, but we are gonna have a debate on this top 3 that we're gonna need to maybe do some shuffling. But let's just get it there now.
But we're filling out kind of the top 5 here. I don't know if anything else is going to come up that's going to adjust these top 4 specifically.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out, Brody.
He's got a point, bro. Come on, let's go. Let's put it there with a chance to shuffle.
All right. Next up, War of the Worlds. Our second Tom Cruise movie. I remember
should have been better.
Not caring for this as much. Maybe because this came out at the same time that Batman Begins was in theaters, and I was on such a Batman high that nothing else mattered. There was no other movie. Nothing else mattered. It was Batman Begins or nothing. If you were another movie, you didn't matter.
I could see then putting Minority Report at 5 and then War of the Worlds at 6. And if you guys really pushed, I could maybe see 7, but I don't know what would be 6 then.
This movie made me not want to have kids. I thought the kids in this movie are terrible, and the world is ending, and there's aliens invading, and the kids are just being awful. I have to time having kids so that they're old enough that whatever apocalypse comes, they're not just going to be whiny and like complaining at me like, Dad. I'm like, quiet, honey. The aliens are outside and they're here to murder us. I would put this probably at like 8 or 9 personally.
Oh,
but if you told me like 8, move Private Ryan to 7. If you wanted to put it 7, Brody, I would concede, I suppose. I don't have strong feelings about the back half here.
Oh.
What do you think, bro? I could see that.
Of what? Moving Private Ryan to number 7 and putting War of the Worlds at 8?
Yeah. With a chance to maybe if it's...
I'm actually not really against the idea of moving Minority Report up to 5.
I forgot about E.T. I was trying to... I was racking my brain. I'm like, what was... I know which one of the last 2 is. I couldn't remember what the other one was.
Charlie, it's right. It's
E.T.
behind you. It's your background.
No, I can't see the little screen.
Oh.
Down there.
All right, so E.T.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
This is...
9?
I don't...
9, really?
I would not put this at 5, but I don't think it's as bad as 9.
Great theme.
Wonderful theme. Wonderful theme. But I saw this.
What if Minority Report?
I saw this as a kid and I bawled my eyes out, and I think I've seen it one other time in my life, and I did not really enjoy it. I don't know, man. It's so sad. This is so sad. Yeah. This is the saddest movie on the list.
There are too many cartoon animated shows that have done the gag of on a bike in front of the moon to list, but that iconic shot has been done and redone. So for that alone, it belongs in top 10 glory.
It's the Amblin logo.
We put it 6 and we push Minority to 5.
All right.
Yeah.
You good with that too, Dong?
Because E.T.'s got some nostalgia for me, but I'm not rewatching it much.
I saw it once when I was a kid, and it scared me, and I never saw it again. So yeah, I'm fine with that because I also understand the cultural impact that it had.
It used to be a kids movie. I don't know if there's any kids that are watching it.
Yeah. I still have it in the attic. This is E.T. toy. It's like his little spaceship. It opens up, and then you press a little lever thing, and he just shoots out, and he's on wheels. So I still have that to this day. This movie did not scare me as a child, by the way, but I was much tougher than you two.
That's very true. You still are, Charlie.
Yaks.
All right. Last up, we have Hook. What are you guys' thoughts on Hook?
I liked Hook, okay? I'll admit it. I liked Hook. I liked I mean, they did not do they weren't as racially insensitive about like the cartoon was. But I loved Robin Williams in this kind of a role, playing against type. And I'll admit, there was Julia Roberts. There were some performances that were kind of screechy, but I mean, there were some.
I forgot about her.
She was Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell.
So bad behind the scenes that even I heard Spielberg. I don't think maybe Spielberg. Allegedly, they were calling her Tinker Hell because that's how they were like, why did we do this?
Clever.
It was very clever. It didn't rhyme or anything, but I really enjoyed it. I liked the themes. I thought it was heartwarming, and it could have just been that it was Robin Williams, but I always thought that it was a good movie. I liked it. Now, am I prepared to... it is a lot more rewatchable than a lot of these movies. I'm not going to say that it hit every single mark that it tried to get, but it's a personal favorite, and I appreciate it. Maybe not top 5, but definitely bottom 5.
Thanks.
I would watch that before I watched Saving Private Ryan again, because that's a tough one to sit through, whereas Hook is not a tough one to sit through.
I might disagree with you on that point.
It's tough for different reasons.
Something about watching like full-grown Robin Williams with like all these little children and like this Neverland Ranch. I don't know. It was a weird.
No, Neverland Ranch. Rufio.
Okay,
they killed poor Rufio.
When I was a kid,
that was terrible as well. I know.
When I was a kid, I know I'm in the minority. I really did not like Rufio.
Really?
I thought he was such a prick.
Brody
Kind of
cheered
was.
out loud when he died. He
I think-
cheered out loud.
I think I actually was happy when he died. Because I was like, I don't like this character. I don't like this guy. He's so cocky. He's such a jerk to Robin Williams, who's Peter Pan, who is the rightful leader of the Lost Boys.
But that look on his face when he sees Peter Pan go for his kids, and then Hook is like Rufio, and he smiles. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna sword fight." Then he gets stabbed.
The actor who plays Rufio does one of the voices for Sokka, I believe, in the Avatar: Last Airbender show that I'm watching with the kids. He's great, very funny. No, he doesn't do Sokka. Excuse me, he does the Firebender. I should know this. I don't, off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but he's great.
Unbelievable.
And that makes me like him more. Brody cheered when Macaulay Culkin's character, My Girl, got stung to death by bees.
No, I didn't.
He
Come on.
cheered
No,
for that.
I didn't.
Unreal. Watching movies with Brody is so backwards because anytime a character that's likable dies, he's like, finally, yes!
Rufio was not likable. He was a jerk.
Rufio.
I know. I'm in the minority. I know that I am, but I didn't like
You're
it.
in Minority Report.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay. Well, where do we put this? I will say.
I think it's better than War of the Worlds. How about that? I'll put it at 8. Switch 8 and 9.
Would you guys put this above E.T.? No?
I'm tempted to show my kids E.T. I have no desire to ever watch the movie Hook again I can't devise a scenario in my mind that I'm rewatching that. But I feel bad because Dylan loves it. So I'm not saying like I need to banish it to the end of the list, but
I did just watch this.
For me.
Put it at 9.
I did just
technically not.
I'm fine putting it at 8 and moving War of the Worlds to 9. I'm fine with that.
Really? You think it's better than War of the Worlds?
I didn't say that I thought it was better. I'm throwing you a bone.
I will say that I did just watch this with my kids, I think just last year. And they enjoyed it. They had fun with it.
Did your
More
kids
than
also
Saving Private Ryan,
cheer when
bro?
Rufio died?
No, I think my kids liked Rufio.
Yeah, of course they
They're
did.
good kids.
What did your kids think of Saving Private Ryan? Because you showed it to them first, didn't you?
No, we haven't gotten there yet. Okay,
I
so
already showed my kid Saving Private Ryan, and she isn't even 2 months yet.
all
So,
right.
Brody, did you like Hook? So you've watched it recently. Did you like that? Do you want to move it higher up on the list?
I would rather watch Hook than E.T. I think for me, I almost think, and I know that we're trying to go off of like quality here, right? That's how we're kind of building this list more than
It helps. Does help.
personal preference.
Well, a little bit of both. Call him A, let's call him B.
Personal preference, E.T. would be lower on my list. I would rather watch War of the Worlds than I would rather watch. I don't know about Lost World.
So am I in an island with Saving Private Ryan? Do you guys both just hate that one? Would you guys both have that like at 9?
No.
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 I don't think the only reason it's that low on the list is due to rewatchability. It's a tough film to rewatch, but it is a masterpiece in a lot of the different things. But it's one of those where it's just tough. It's tough, but it's not bad.
I think. What if we moved E.T. to 9 and then Saving Private Ryan to 6 and then War of the Worlds to 7 and then Hook at 8?
Bro, let me say this to you. E.T., you saw it once and it had such an effect
I've seen it
on
twice.
you. You were sad.
Twice.
You were sad and you never wanted to watch it again. Now, we're not saying that the rewatchability is high. I'm not saying it. I'll never watch it again. But it affected you. Now, I've watched Saving Private Ryan more than once. So I get it. But, I mean, it affected me a lot. But, I mean, E.T., I only saw it once. And I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm fine with it there. I am fine with Hook being, at 9, 8 or 9.
I gotta admit, I don't know that I'm comfortable with putting E.T. at 9.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
not
don't-
comfortable with that.
I think that's a little bit
All
too
right.
low. If we're calling
All
this official Talk Punch rankings, I'm not comfortable with E.T. at 9.
All right.
I'm uncomfortable with that too.
I'm outvoted. That's okay.
But if you want to move it off 6, I'll allow it. I especially if you put Saving Private Ryan at 6, maybe we put E.T. at 7.
I would put Saving Private Ryan above E.T.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then, where do we want Hook? Do we want that before or after War of the Worlds?
Dylan, your call. You love Hook. Put it where you want it.
I mean, I think War of the Worlds was the better made movie. I would be comfortable with it being at 9.
Hook being at 9? I think I'm okay with
wait,
that.
number 9 on an all-time Spielberg list, not an insult.
That's true. That is definitely true.
Although he has some great films that are not represented here by this 10 that would probably knock that thing pretty
it's true.
down, but that's okay.
That's also true as well.
Okay, now we need to revisit the top 5.
Yes, we do.
So, I like where the top 5 is.
This is Brody's top 5 right here.
But what do you guys think? Are you wanting Jurassic Park lower? Charlie, where do you think Jurassic Park would fall? Should fall?
I would probably put Jurassic Park 2 and put one of the Indiana Joneses 1 and then put the other Indiana Jones 3 just so that we don't have 2 Indiana Jones back to back as 1 and 2. That's probably where I would do it. But I am willing to listen to arguments. If the world was on fire and for some reason all it was doing was destroying movies, and I could save only one, I could save. You know what? Let me change my preface here. It's destroying movies, but only movies that were made before the year 2000. And I thought, well, we have these new Jurassic World ones that are okay. Those are pretty good. But has there been something that, certainly Crystal Skull is terrible. Has there been something equivalent to Indiana Jones that I'd want to save? Are we talking like, Nick Cage in the government one? What's that? Why can't I think of it right now? National Treasure. There it is. Has there been anything good enough since Indiana Jones that I would let that one burn? I don't know. I might save Indy and let the original Jurassic Park go. Even though Jeff Goldblum, what a national treasure.
Mm-hmm. There's so much good with that movie. Tudong, where would you put Jurassic Park?
I'd probably put. I mean, there are some really good performances. There's others that aren't as good in Jurassic Park. There are some, like I said, inconsistencies. Although, so I mean, I would put it more 3. But then again, I would save Jaws and put that higher up, just because I love how that was his first bare bones movie. But yeah,
if you guys both think Jaws top 3, I'll allow it, just for you.
I'm just saying, I would if I was gonna put Jurassic Park, I'd probably put it 3 before I put it at 2. But I would I would accept it at 2. I mean, it still is a landmark movie of his. If either of the indies were at number 1. Now, I know you guys don't like the Last Crusade, and that is a phenomenal movie. I would be okay with that at number 1.
Okay, so let's go ahead and place a vote. Jurassic Park at number 2.
Wait, are we
on the show for the audio listener that I am raising my hand?
Charlie is raising her hand.
I didn't know how we were supposed to vote. I didn't know how we were supposed to vote.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Jurassic Park.
Do we have only 2 choices, or we have 3 choices? Like, what are our choices here?
Are
you gonna then give me the choice of number 3? Because I think all 3 of us would have different choices.
I think what you can, if you're at home and you're just pulling your hair out at this point, just know that these are all very closely ranked. This is how Dylan and Brody both ended up was talking about movies, having arguments like this, just pulling out hair.
Okay,
what are our choices, Brody?
I would be willing to move Jurassic Park to number 2. Do we want to keep the indies where they are?
I'm fine either way.
Last
about Raiders?
Last Crusade number 1, Jurassic Park, and then Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Jaws.
I could live with it.
I think I could be okay with this. And that's part of all this, is that this is our we're compromising on all
Brody,
this
do you
stuff.
think do you prefer Raiders or do you prefer Crusade?
I think I
'Cause I
prefer Crusade.
Okay.
I think I prefer
Because
Crusade.
I was gonna say because I prefer Crusade and Dylan prefers Raiders, so you are the tiebreaker.
It's tough though. It's a close one. It's neck. And I mean, on the different day, I could appreciate one more than the other.
Yeah.
Like it's really close. So which is why I'm
I
fine.
like this. Looks good.
Okay,
Dylan? Brody, what do you guys think?
I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this.
I like our Brady Bunch format here. I don't take advantage of the fact that we're in like these
Cubes.
like Brady Bunch little boxes.
So, bro, tell
All right.
people the audio podcast listeners at home what our ranking now.
So-
Final ranking of the Talk Bunch.
The official Talk Punch Steven Spielberg movie list coming in at number 10, The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Number 9, Hook. Number 8, War of the Worlds. Number 7, E.T. Number 6, Saving Private Ryan. Number 5, Minority Report. Number 4, Jaws. Number 3, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 2, Jurassic Park, the original. And number 1, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
There we go.
It was a lot to say.
You did wonderfully, man.
All right. Well, I'm really happy with that. I think this was a fun format to do. I think we could do more of these. Shuffling them up and having the visual where we're moving things around, trying to convince each other of moving stuff up or down is fun.
Yeah.
You know, we're having to work together, the co-op thing, because we're a team.
Yeah.
All right.
Now these just happen to be our rankings that we kind of negotiated, and you saw how some of this was harder for us than others. Maybe you'd like to throw your hat in the ring, or your wig, if you will. Let us know your personal top 10, your official top 10 Spielberg rankings out of these. Also, maybe throw some recommendations if we didn't have one of your favorite Spielbergs on the list, especially some of his newer stuff. We're trying to convince Dylan to see Ready Player One. He has not seen it yet. Help us out. Help us make him see it. He's like, this sci-fi mumbo jumbo. I don't understand technology over here. I can't watch it. Help us out. Get him to see it. And we can all enjoy some of the newer Spielberg as well as the classic Spiely. So let us know. Check out some more content here below me. And then you can see below the beard a place to like and subscribe. And we really do appreciate all of the likes and subscribes that you guys drop our way. It really makes a difference.
It really does help.
And if we were making a top 10 list, you know who you are. You'd be number 1.
Oh, that was good.
No
That's
debate.
really.
All right. See you guys later.
See you next time.
Adios.